Hello, Freight fans! Barky Dog here, back with another installment of my creature double feature. now, as you may remember from last time, I grew up watching the creature double feature on Channel 56 out of Boston. Every Saturday afternoon, they'd air two monster pictures, or two sci-fi pictures, back to back. And the two pictures always had something in common. Sometimes it was two Gamera or Godzilla movies, sometimes two Draculas or Wolfmans, or two flying saucer films. It was a great introduction to the classic monster and creature movies. So this is my homage to Channel 56's Creature Double Feature, that long-running and sorely missed Saturday afternoon institution. This time we're tackling two classic sci-fi pictures, so here I am on the planet Mars. As you can see, to bring you two movies set on the Red Planet. First up is The Angry Red Planet from 1959, a classic schlocker if ever there was one. The first spaceship to Mars went missing when all of a sudden it's found in Earth orbit, and the ground crew can't make radio contact. However, they can use remote control to land the rocket to see if there are any survivors. It turns out there are, and one of them is deathly ill with some Martian jello. Another survivor is this chick, Dr. Iris Ryan. They call her Irish for obvious reasons. Irish can't seem to remember what happened, and it looks like all the record tapes on the rocket are blank. So they give her a shot of truth serum, and she tells the tale via flashback. The crew reached Mars and landed okay, and it turned out Mars was a weird place. There are carnivorous plants and some kind of jello monster, and of course, this famous cobbled together bat, crab, spider, monster, marionette thing. They try to leave, but the Martians don't let them. Eventually, stuff happens, and they're sent back to Earth with a warning message from the Martians. This movie stars Gerald Moore as the officer in charge of the rocket. Moore did lots of radio and television in his career, and lots of announcing thanks to his deep voice. He's okay here, a little gung-ho when he comes on strong to let everyone know he has the hots for Irish. Well, who wouldn't? Irish is played by Nora Hayden. She also did a lot of TV. Her role in this picture is probably her biggest claim to fame. She also didn't think much of Moore for some reason. They didn't get along. Jack Crucian plays a crewman on the rocket. He was a fine character actor who appeared in a ton of stuff, including The Apartment, War of the Worlds, and Lover Come Back, plus tons of TV. And I can't leave out the great Les Tremayne. He's the older scientist on board the ship. Tremayne was another guy with a great voice. He narrated lots of stuff on radio and television and voiced many cartoons and movie trailers. He's also in War of the Worlds, North by Northwest, and a bunch of other movies and TV shows. He even played Mentor in the 1970s live-action Shazam series from Filmation. Ted Cassidy, Lurch himself, voices the Martians, and familiar character actor Billy Curtis donned the Martian costume. You can't see his face, but he's here. The Martian landscape was realized in a process called cinemagic, with overprocessed film creating blown-out details mixed with animation and an orange tint to everything that made Mars look suitably weird. This one was done on the cheap and shot in less than 10 days. They even recycled much of the soundtrack, which came from a movie called Invisible Invaders. Despite all that, the movie is still iconic and memorable, especially for the bat crab spider thing. Ew. Next up is Flight to Mars from 1951. This was produced by Monogram Pictures, one of their rare color movies. This movie was reportedly also shot in less than 10 days or so. Flight to Mars follows Earth's first attempt to reach the Red Planet. We meet the crew the day before takeoff. There's a scientist and his cute assistant who has the hots for him. There's an older scientist and another older guy who's the designer of the rocket. And finally, a journalist who's going along to write about the mission. Here we see the ubiquitous scene in many of these rocket ship movies where the crew contemplates man's place in the universe. And they also encounter a meteor swarm. Another typical event in this kind of movie. When they finally arrive, they crash on Mars, and then they meet Morris Ankrum, the head of the Martian Council, Ikron, who agrees to help the Earthmen repair their ship for the return flight to Earth. But he has an ulterior motive. See, the Martians have been able to survive because of a rare element they get their power from, called corium. But their supply of corium is almost used up, and without it their race will die. For all their advanced technology, they don't have rockets, so Ikron wants to let the Earthmen finish repairing their rockets so he can step in and steal it, build more, and then send his army to conquer Earth so it can be colonized. The young scientist meets a sexy Martian chick, so he throws over the Earth chick who loves him. That's okay, because she has a fallback in the form of the journalist who has the hots for her. So it all works out! Can the Earthmen, with the help of the good Martians, finish the repairs in time and escape before the evil Martians arrest them? Stalwart character actor Cameron Mitchell plays the journalist going along to report on the flight. Mitchell was most famous for his role in the High Chaparral TV series. We also have Marguerite Chapman as the sexy Martian chick. She was dubbed Miss Breathless of 1943, and in these skimpy Martian outfits you can kinda see why. The younger scientist is played by Arthur Franz, who did a lot of TV work. Virginia Houston is the Earth chick. She played Robert Mitchum's love interest in Out of the Past. John Lytell, a long-storied character actor, plays Dr. Lane, one of the older scientists. And, of course, the legendary Morris Ankrum, who plays Ikron, is here, leader of the Martian Council. He appeared in many classic sci-fi pictures over the years, and many, many other things. Always a treat to see Morris Ankrum. This movie was made quick and cheap, recycling the rocket ship interiors from Rocket Ship XM. But Flight to Mars definitely has its charms. The sets of the Martian city are impractical, but different, if nothing else. The story moves along nicely, and the whole thing is pretty cool. Producer Walter Mirisch went on to great success overseeing the transformation of Monogram into Allied Artists, and helmed many fine classic pictures and worked with Burt Lancaster on some of his great movies. Of the two, I suppose Angry Red Planet is perhaps more exciting and more colorful, but I kind of like Flight to Mars a little better. It has an innocence to it. Even how the crew wears bomber jackets and flight suits on the surface of Mars. The Cinecolor they used isn't quite up to the standards of 3-strip Technicolor, but is almost reminiscent of 2-strip Technicolor. And there are no monsters, just people. These are both very interesting movies. In Angry Red Planet, in a strange way, the whole focus is on Irish, which is something I never really picked up on until I rewatched it. But she's the focal point of the whole movie, probably because she's doing the reminiscing in the flashback here. Flight to Mars has a density to it. There's a lot going on, especially in the flight preparation part in the beginning and the launch and all that. It's amazing to think that both of these pictures were made in less than 2 weeks, and you wonder what they could have achieved if they had just a little bit more time and a slightly larger budget. It's very impressive either way. Both are good sci-fi movies to enjoy for a Saturday afternoon creature double feature set on Mars. Both movies are available on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray, and digitally from Amazon Prime, depending where you live. Flight to Mars just got a nice Blu-ray release and has 2 good featurettes. One is on how Mirish formed Allied artists out of Monogram Pictures. Well, that's about it, Fright fans. You can see my other creature double feature here, and I'll see you in the next one.